Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and finally we are starting with my league table predictions for the upcoming season. So I'm recording this on Saturday the 29th of July, so if any mid signings have happened for any team in League 1 from now until the start of the season, obviously I'm not going to know about it. So as mentioned before, starting off with League 1 today. We're going to be doing the Championship later on this week, and then obviously next week will be my Premier League ones. I feel like I'm under a little bit of pressure for League 1, I can't lie, because I think last year I did relatively well with my predictions, I would like to say. So yeah, quite a bit of pressure, I think, this year to follow that up. And honestly, I've struggled a lot with these predictions, you know. My top 2 and bottom 4 I've been pretty confident with. It's just everywhere else, mid-table, where I've really struggled. This is a weaker League 1 season than it has been for the last probably 3 years or so, because, a lot of the old heavyweights have been promoted since, likes of your Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich all got promoted last year, obviously Sunderland and Hull obviously been promoted elsewhere as well, so, yeah, there's a lot of your heavyweights you could consider no longer in the league now, so if you're like a mid-table team for the last 3 years, you feel as though this year could be your year to get promoted, so that should be pretty exciting. Going to be doing the usual format, starting off 24th, working our way up to first place, giving my reasons behind each position as well. So obviously in 12 months time, I'll either look like a huge idiot or a huge genius. But without any more hesitation, let's get into these predictions. So starting off with my bottom 4. Coming in rock bottom, I do have Cambridge United. They've lost quite a lot of key players. Sam Smith, Harvey Nibbs being 2 there. Obviously, that's you've lost quite a lot of goals up front. The signings have been decent, I suppose. Jordan Cousins, Sully Kaikai, Danny Andrew, all League 1 veterans. They know the division quite well. As I mentioned before, goals were a huge problem for them last season. They averaged less than a goal per game. And now that they're missing Smith and Nibbs, it's going to be even more of a challenge, I feel. And also the fact they barely survived last season as well. Like, they were in the bottom 4 for quite a long time last season, only just surviving on the final day due to slip-ups elsewhere. And honestly, as the case is with relegated teams, I do believe the teams above them are stronger. And, I think it could be quite a slog for Cambridge this year. To be fair, I've only seen one person actually not predicting to go down. Apart from that, everyone else seems to be in the same mind, like said that Cambridge are going to finish bottom. And I've got to agree with that, unfortunately. 23rd, I'm going with Northampton Town. Now, I don't like the whole thing of, you just, choose the new promoted teams to get relegated. And spoiler alert, I suppose, Northampton are the only promoted team I've predicted to actually go straight back down, so I suppose do what you want with that information. To be fair, then they have largely kept their squad together, which is the main thing. I suppose the only real loss is Tom King, and they've not really replaced him with anybody. Lee Burge at the moment is the only goalkeeper or senior goalkeeper at the club, and yeah, he does have a good track record at League 1 with Coventry and Sunderland, so it's not the worst thing ever, I suppose. But it probably would help him, if there was another goalkeeper that to really compete with him. The recruitment's been very careful, they've mostly just been identifying those weak spots and just adding a little bit of quality where they can. Manny Munn and Patrick Brough, both 2 solid League 2 players, it's going to be interesting to see whether they can make the step up to League 1. Also Therese Simpson and Kieran Bowie as well, 2 young strikers on loan from the Premier League, from Huddersfield and Fulham. It'll be interesting to see whether they can look to impress and make the step up as well. Sam Hoskins, Mitch Pinnock as well, 2 existing players who had excellent seasons last year. They're gonna have to try and do well. And again, same with Cambridge. It's just in my opinion, the teams with them are stronger. And to be fair, I've got nothing against Northampton. I think they're a solid outlet, but I think it could be a bit of a more of an upper battle for them this season. 22nd, and one of several big calls I think on my list this season, is Exeter City. Now, I've seen a lot of people predict Exeter to actually comfortably survive this season, but I don't know, I really don't know with Exeter. Like, last year I predicted them to get relegated because I thought they hadn't made enough improvements. They actually did really well last year. So yes, I am aware I could be making the same mistake last year, but honestly this year I just don't want to see it happening. You know, they've lost a lot of key players. You know, Josh Key, Jack Sparks, Jamal Blackman, Giovanni Brown, Archie Collins, they're all gone. Jay Stanfield's gone back to Fulham as well, so they've lost quite a few players there. In my opinion, they haven't strengthened enough either. You know, the squad's arguably weaker now than one it was last year. They have brought in like some exciting young players from the Premier League, but there are question marks of whether or not they'll be able to get involved and also hit the ground running. For me, I just don't see Exeter having as good of a season this year as they did last year. Obviously there's always a chance that they will, but right now, I think they could be in for a tough season. And finally, finishing 21st, I do have Cheltenham Town. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room there is obviously Alfie May is gone. And, you're taking out a lot of your goals there. However, Aidan Keener is still there. He's going to have to try and chip in with more goals this season as well. As is Rob Street, who they brought in from Crystal Palace. Also, Will Goodwin still there as well. So there are strikers there. Whether or not they can replace May is another thing. I suppose the recruitment's been alright, nothing really wrong with it. Curtis Davies is, he adds experience and leadership in that defence, that's obviously a huge plus. Luke Southwood as well on a permanent transfer from Reading as well. He had a solid year last year, he's going to have to try and do well as well. For me with Cheltenham, I don't like the idea of, one player or one aspect of being the difference between, like relegation and survival, but for me, Alfie May is just a huge loss. It's a massive loss, and I think that ultimately could be the huge factor whether or not Cheltenham do steal this season or not. But as of right now, I think they will be going down 21st. Now moving up onto the league table, where I do have the teams all finishing in the bottom half. 20th, I have gone with Carlisle United. It's a big call. I'm aware of this one, everyone seems to have had the idea that Carlisle are going to be going down. I can definitely see why, for a few years, they were struggling in League 2, always flirting in around with relegation, but, last season, brilliant year, and them getting promoted through the playoffs, and they are back in League 1 after quite a long time out. I've been impressed with their signings, Ben Barclay has joined up on a permanent deal, Dylan McGeoch as well has previous League 1 experience, so that's obviously with Sunderland and Forest Green, obviously not too shabby as well. And of course, like with pretty much everyone else in League 1, they've been picking up some young gems from the Premier League and the Championship. In terms of outgoings, Morgan Feeney and Christian Dennis are going to be some big losses there for Carlisle. Owen Moxon is still at the club right now, so obviously that's going to be a huge plus for Carlisle. And winning the playoffs, you've got that feel good factor is still there for Carlisle, so that's always something to hold on, I suppose. And I do fancy them to stay up. There's something about Carlisle. I think they might just do it this year. Again, who knows? But I think it could be their year. 19th, I've gone with Port Vale. They've kept the squad together. It's always a good thing. I suppose really the only huge loss you could argue maybe Dave Worrell, maybe. You're losing that a bit of leadership and experience in the midfield. Signings that been impressive, they brought in Mitchell Clark, Connor Grant and Jason Lowe, all experienced League 1 players. And also brought in Ethan Chiswick as well from Wimbledon, he had a decent year for Wimbledon last year. Also, Alex they covered Ethan from Ross County as well, he was a pretty solid season in the Scottish Premiership last season. And keeping the theme, bringing in young players on loan from the Premier League as well, so there's that. Again, like with Cheltenham, careful recruitment, but they've been identifying the weak spots and checking them where they can. And I think they'll be alright this season. Now, 18th, I've gone with Stevenage in 18th, but I'm sort of thinking they should maybe be higher than 18th. They've made some excellent signings, I think. Harry Anderson, Nathan and Louis Thompson as well, two excellent League 1 players. Dan Butler and Ben Thompson, both from Peterborough as well. Nick Freeman, just to say the least, they've made some fantastic signings for a newly promoted side. And again, they've kept hold of their squad. Max Clark, probably really the only sort of half decent departure there. But Steve Evans, good League 1 manager. He knows the division. And to be fair, honestly, they probably will finish higher than their team. I've just got them in there for now. Sort of like a little cautious prediction. But yeah, I think they'll probably will finish higher than 18th looking at it, but you know, I predict them to stay off. That's something, I suppose. And then 17th, the final promoted side, we're going to go with Leyton Orient. You know, I think everyone can agree it's really good to see Leyton Orient back in League One after the horrible times they've been through in the last almost decade now. You know, going from League One playoff finalists to National League football within 3 years is one hell of a fucking plummet. But you know, the backup now, and to be fair, they made some good signings. You know, Joe Piggott. Yes, he's had a couple of tough seasons with Portsmouth and Ipswich, but you know, he's done it before with AFC Wimbledon. The reason why he can't do it again. And, you know, Dan Aggie as well, brilliant season with Crewe in League 2 last season. You know, 16 goals and assists, nothing to really complain about. And also, you know, Ethan Galbraith as well, Max Sanders, two players with a little bit of League 1 experience as well. Obviously, Ethan Galbraith was a standout player in the Salford's team last season. And also Saul Brain on for Middlesbrough as well. Obviously, he kept 13 clean sheets for Swindon last season. He's a good signing as well. And obviously, you know, Paul Smith and Lawrence Figueroa, two big losses there. However, I would argue they've definitely replaced them pretty well. And yeah, they should be pretty comfortable, I think, for this season. 16th, I've gone with Fleetwood Town. You know, they've had their, you know, off-the-field issues, which, you know, we're pretty well documented by now, I suppose. But despite that, they've had a pretty decent transfer window. You know, Ryan Broom and Danny Mayer, two pretty good signings, you know, pretty experienced League One players. Also, the young Adam Montgomery on from Celtic as well. He's going to be replacing Danny Andrew as well at left back. My only concern really with Fleetwood, and I think Tom had written all over it, definitely highlighted that, which I thought was a pretty good point. You know, with the whole off the field stuff, with the Rona and stuff like that, could mean that their January transfer window could be, you know, they might have to, you know, they might not be able to actually sign anybody in January, which obviously means they could be like get left behind. But to be fair, I think right now they'll be fine. I don't see them ever having any trouble with relegation, but you know, who knows, I suppose. 15th, I've gone with Shrewsbury Town. Now, I've seen a lot of people actually back Shrewsbury to get relegated this season, and I might be missing something here. I honestly don't see it. Honestly, right now, I think Shrewsbury will be fine. Like, again, I could be missing something. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the manager, obviously, I suppose, radio managerial departure. You know, I suppose that's probably could be one huge factor, I suppose. You know, Matty Taylor, you know, it's his first managerial gig. Could go either way, I suppose. But you know, also as well, Luke Lee and Matt Pennington are both gone as well. I suppose he lost as well. But honestly, I think other than that, Shrewsbury probably looking alright. You know, Carl Winters has joined on the permanent transfer as well. That's great news. Morgan Beanie's coming as well from Carlisle. You know, he's going to be a good addition as well. Also brought in Elliot Thorpe and Johannesson on loan from Luton and Sunderland respectively. You know, two teams who had good years in the championship last year. Both players, you know, they get minutes, you know. And then someone on Twitter actually pointed this out, but Shrewsbury could actually form like a whole defence of Sunderland players. Sorry, ex-Sunderland players. You know, Winchester, Flanagan, Jordan Willis if they sign him permanently after his trial, and Johannesson, and also Morgan Beanie's there as well. Sorry, I thought that was a pretty cool fact. Obviously, you know, Shrewsbury's main problem last season obviously was the defence. You know, they were conceding goals for fun last season. For the most part, it seems as though they have strengthened out their defence a little bit, I would say. Yeah, you know, a lot of question marks over Shrewsbury. I personally think they'll be alright, but, you know, time will tell. 14th, we're going with Wigan Athletic, the first of the relegated teams, you know. Okay, I'm talking about the huge elephant in the room. Obviously, the -8 points that we're going to be starting on. You know, effectively they're going to be starting like a month behind everyone else. You know, like they're going to need fucking 3 wins, just to get on the positive points. And obviously by the end of August they could, you know, by the end of August, you know they could have, you know, won the first 3 games and maybe got like another win or a point in the 4th game, and probably won't be too bad, but. You know, like especially at the start of the season, we're going to be playing catch up quite a lot, which probably going to hinder any sort of even some even some sort of top 6 fucking push. But I don't think Wigan fans are going to be that arsed about that this season, I'll be honest. And you know, there's been a lot of outgoings. Wigan, Will Keane probably being the main one there. You know, obviously he obviously won the Golden Boot obviously 2 years ago when they got promoted. He's got the Preston. And, Jack Watmore, Max Power, Tom Miller, albeit weren't great in the Championship, were good in League One, as they were all part of the promotion team. Yes, they had, as I just mentioned, they had poor years in the Championship, but in League One, they were solid players. And they're all gone. I think that could hinder them a little bit. However, I am liking their recruitment quite a bit. They've got a good mix of experienced League One players and young Premier League players, and also some from the Championship as well. So I think Wigan will be good. I think 14th might be a little bit too kind though. They could, obviously could potentially finish lower than that, but I think 14th probably would be around about right. And then finally, last team finishing in the bottom half is going to be Burton Albion. For me, they've had one of the top 3 transfer windows in the league. Obviously, unreal business. Mason Bennett and Raheem Harper. Both solid League One players. Cole Stockton as well. Brilliant year a couple years ago for Morgan. And obviously he found his shooting boots at the end of last season as well. So can't complain with that. And also Ryan Sweeney as well. A brilliant year for Dundee last year in the Scottish Championship as well. So he's going to be a good addition as well. Obviously, Terry Taylor's gone. He literally went to Charlton a few days ago. He's going to be quite a big loss as well. Honestly, this has been Burton's best transfer window in a long time. And arguably, probably since they got relegated, it's back in 2018, it's probably been the strongest they've been looking for a long time. Now we're going to be moving on to the 6 teams I think will finish top half, but just miss out on the playoffs. So I go from 12th, I've gone with Bristol Rovers. No huge losses from them. They've kept this team together, which is great to see. They've added the likes of Luke Thomas as well, and Giovanni Brown. Obviously, Giovanni Brown, we all know his situation off the field as well. If he just, has his football head on, he should be able to get things going as well. George Friend and James Wilson bring that experience to that defence, which they so desperately needed last year, because they were awful for conceding a lot of goals last year. Them too. Not only are they 2 quality players as well, but that they had a lot of leadership in that defence as well. So that's going to be pretty crucial for that. Again, also bringing quite a few loan players from the Premier League as well. And honestly, Bristol Rovers, they're a team on the up. They're a team on the up. I think, maybe in like a couple of years they could honestly be pushing for playoffs if they keep going the way they're going. It's exciting times for Bristol Rovers, I suppose. Now these next 2 predictions are going to be some pretty big calls, and literally could be 2 that I look back on in like a year's time, be thinking, what was I thinking? But in 11th, I've gone with Barnsley. The playoff finalists last year. It's a pretty big drop off. I get it. It's been a pretty crazy summer at Barnsley. Michael Duff's got to Swansea. Harry Armstead hasn't come back, and obviously Matt Anderson's gone to Luton. Brad Collins has also gone as well. He's gone to Coventry on the bench. So that's Barnsley's 2 goalkeepers gone, and they replaced them with Liam Roberts and Ben Killip. Are they going to be any better? I don't know. Obviously last season, it's a big cloud. Losing the playoff final is one thing, but losing it the way they did as well must have been absolutely fucking heartbreaking. It's just looking very bleak at Barnsley right now. Obviously the whole EFL charges as well looming over their heads could be a season to forget. And to be fair, I think Barnsley fans, I think the expectations aren't too high this season, but I've got in 11th. God knows where they're going to be this season. I really don't know. 10th place, probably even more crazy than Barnsley. I've gone with Peterborough to finish 10th. 2 teams who finished in the playoffs last year. I'm predicting them to not even be anywhere near that this season, which is a big call. But I think with Peterborough, they have lost a lot of key players. Jack Taylor and Joe Ward being 2. Taylor's gone to Ipswich, Ward's gone to Derby, and obviously other players have gone as well. Signings have been a bit of a mixture. I think a mixture of some decent players and also a little bit of underwhelming ones as well. I think their transfer aims have been pretty clear. They haven't signed anyone over the age of 25. Archie Collins and Ramoni Critchlow, 2 players I think are decent little additions there. But like the theme has been, it seems this season, they've brought in a lot of players from the National League. Where they can make the step up or not, who knows? Honestly, again, like Barnsley, last season's playoff defeat was a big cloud. Sheffield Wednesday doing the damage there. You know, 4-0 up in the first leg, you'd think you're pretty much at Wembley already, but the way they fucking lost that second leg was, my god, madness. And then look on Twitter, it doesn't seem like a huge amount of optimism in Peterborough as well, you know. The fans want DMAC out, just looking pretty bleak at Peterborough right now, and, you know, they still got, you know, the Clark Harris, people like that, you know, they're still there, but just doesn't seem very optimistic at Peterborough right now, and that's why most have got them finishing in 10th place. Now in 9th, I've gone with Lincoln City now. Lincoln last season, their main problem obviously were the draws. They drew way too many games last season. And you know, I know it's easier said than done, but if they just turn those draws into wins, there's no reason why they can't be pushing for top 6. No reason at all. You know, they've done it once before. No reason why they can't do it again. Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, Regan Poole and Max Sanders are both gone. There's some pretty big losses there. How they've brought some decent players, you know, Rico Hackett, Jaden Brown, 2 solid League 1 players there. Also Tyler Walker, you know, hasn't had the best of years recently. You know, has had a good season in Lincoln before. He's now back there permanently, so he can look to get going again. And, you know, there's a lot of reason to be positive with Lincoln. I think, you know, could maybe be a dark horse this season. Who knows? Right now, I've got them in 9th. Who knows what it could be? In 8th is a guy I've gone with Wycombe Wanderers. You know, Matt Bloomfield's first full season in charge. You know, it's going to be a completely different Wycombe team to what, you know, we used to, you know, the whole Gareth Ainsworth, Brexit, football, you know, big time wasting players. You know, that's not going to be the Wycombe this season, you don't think. Obviously, Lewis Wing's gone. That's a huge loss there. And I think he's just got the QPR, I believe, so that's a big loss. They did make a bit of a slow start in the window, you know, since I made an absolute flurry of signings. Similar approach to Wigan, where they've brought in a mix of experienced players from League 1 and also some young players on from the Premier League as well. Almost have made a whole new defence, you know, with Ken Vincent-Young, Richard Keogh, Joe Lowe and Luke Leahy as well as the players already got there. You know, it's a younger Wycombe, it's a younger team, it's a more exciting team, you could argue. Again, whether or not Matt Bloomfield's up for the task remains to be seen, but again, a lot of reason to be positive for Wycombe this season. And finally, in 7th place, just missing out on the playoffs, I have gone with Reading. You know, Reading, to be fair, I think their fans probably shouldn't be too upset if they don't make top 6 this year. You know, this is definitely like a rebuild season. You know, this has been coming for fucking years now for Reading. You know, since they did lose the playoff final back in 2017, they've just been a downward spiral ever since then. You know, key players gone, you know, Lucas Jow, Tom Inns, they've, you know, Ikumi, they've all gone. Again, like Wycombe made a pretty slow start in the window, but brought in some serious firepower. You know, Sam Smith, Harvey Nibbs, 2 brilliant strikers there. Lewis Wing went to Reading on QPR, my apologies. You know, that's some real firepower up front. Also Charlie Savage as well, a permanent deal from Man United. You know, he was probably the starlet in that Forest Green team last season when that got relegated. So yeah, they've all come, you know, younger players as well. You know, can't really turn your nose up with that. Again, you know, another team with a lot of EFL charges looming as well, so it's just one of those where I think if Reading don't get top 6, there's going to be too disheartened. You know, there's always next year, but right now I've got them in 7th place. Could finish lower, could finish higher, I don't know. Now then, moving into my top 6. In 6th place, I've gone with Oxford United. I'm really optimistic about Oxford this season. I don't know why. I suppose really, you know, there's that after last year, you know, the only way is up, and I think that's probably how they're going to do it this year. You know, again, they've kept this team together, you know, the signings as well being really, really good. Mark Harris, Jordan Thornley, Josh McEachran, and obviously the main man himself, Ruben Rodriguez. They're all going to be some pretty big influential signings there. You know, Liam Manning, since he came in last season, he arguably kept Oxford up in the league. And yeah, it should be a much better season this time around. Again, it can't get any worse than last year, you'd think, for Oxford. And honestly, right now, I'm backing them to get top 6. It's, again, a big call. Could be completely wrong in a year's time, but I've got them in 12 right, 6 days right now. Solid. 5th place and the final relegated team, talking about Blackpool. So I'm only backing one of the relegated teams to actually make the top 6 in general. And even then, I'm not even backing them to actually get promoted, which is a big call, I know, but again, for the first time in a long time, honestly, you look at the 3 relegated teams and think that they're all going to fucking struggle, you know. Well, not struggle, but, you know, not get promoted. You know, again, it's been a huge rebuild job at Blackpool over the summer, you know. Neil Critchley, obviously, he's back, which is obviously huge news for them. You know, Jerry Yates is gone. That's he's probably the only he's probably the star player last year. He's gone. But you know, they have made some pretty decent signings. You know, they replaced Yates with Carl Joseph. He's a decent player now. Also, Albie Morgan as well, brilliant addition from Charlton. Matt Pennington as well. Also Ollie Norburn as well, adding a little bit of experience in midfield as well. So it's all right. Squad's looking solid for Blackpool. All things considered, they just need to forget about last season. Move on to the season. You know, big things ahead for Blackpool this season. Should be pretty exciting there. Fourth place I gone with Charlton. Now Charlton definitely are the surprise team. I think this season, you know, I don't think many people expect them to have been this active in the window. You know, they brought in some fucking unreal players, by the way. Harry Eisted as well. You know, unreal goalkeeper for Barnsley last year. Alfie May as well from Charlton. Terry Taylor from Burton. Panuch Camara as well from Ipswich as well. You know, he's brilliant at this level. And also Tayo Eden from Blackburn as well. Like, Charlton made some fucking unreal signings. You know, obviously just mentioned Albie Morgan's gone. He went to Blackpool. Obviously Haki's gone back to Crystal Palace as well. You know, Charlton could be the huge force this season. You know, they could be knocking on the door of automatic promotion. I personally don't think they will, but you know, they're definitely going to be in the top 4, I think, this season as well. Literally, just thinking of that front two of Miles Lieber and Alfie May, it's going to be fucking hell, unreal. And third place, just missing out on top 2, I've gone with Bolton Wanderers. Again, element in the room. James Trafford's gone, Connor Bradley's gone. You know that's, you know, it looks pretty bleak, but in my opinion, they've replaced him quite well with Nathan Baxter and Josh Cogley. You know, 2 good League One players. Obviously, Nathan Baxter, you know, part of the whole team that got promoted in 2021. Obviously, had once with Accrington as well. You know, he's a good keeper at level. Also brought in Carlos Gomez as well from Luton as well. You know, he was brilliant for Morecambe 2 seasons ago. You know, Bolton, you know, I think they're the only team in the playoffs last year who actually haven't been completely unscathed, which is a pretty impressive thing, I suppose. But yeah, I've gone Bolton to stay up, and not to stay up. Now they get 3rd place, and right now I'm probably looking at them at my playoff winners as well. But it's between them and Charlton for my playoff winners, I think. Now moving on into my top 2, getting automatic promotion. 2nd place, we've gone with Portsmouth. Now, it's finally going to be Portsmouth's year. I think they're going to be pretty disappointed if they don't get promoted this year. You know, as I mentioned before, it's a weaker League One season. You know, it's finally their year. I think it's their year to go up. You know, they've had an insane transfer window. You know, they've brought in a lot of players as well, which, you know, isn't always a great thing, as I've seen in the past with Ipswich and with a team like that. But one difference is, you know, they brought in quality players. You know, Gavin White, Regan Poole, Jack Sparks, Christian Sadie, Anthony Scully, Terry Devlin, just to name a few of their pretty good transfer window shopping. And to be fair, since John Mousinho came in last season, they've looked so much better as well. And also, to be fair, I think Portsmouth, they could have a pretty good season. I mean, like, again, I'm using 4-0 written all over it, his analysis of Portsmouth as well. Top 2 should be the aim, top 6 should be the absolute minimum. And again, but to be fair, honestly, if I was a Portsmouth fan, I'd be pretty upset if they didn't get promoted. That's what I'm saying. And in 1st place, I think everyone's choice for the winners this year, Derby County. You know, last year, it was similar to Reading in a way where it kind of was like a rebuild season, you know, trying to get top 6 if they can. Missed out on the end. This year, they've gone fucking ham with the signings, you know. Paul Warren, obviously at the helm, he's a promotion specialist, you know, he's brought in Josh Vickers and Connor Washington, you know, from Rotherham as well to help him out. And also Callum Elder, Joe Ward, Sonny Bradley have all come in as well. They've all had previous promotion from League One as well. For me, Derby County, they've got by far and away the best squad in the whole league. And to be fair, honestly, again, if I was a Derby fan, I'd be pretty upset with fucking 2nd place. You know, 1st place for me has to be the aim for Derby this season. Really good squad. Yes, I've lost my Goldrick, Jason Knight, BLX all gone as well. But for me, Derby have the best squad in the league by far. Top 2 should be absolute minimum. I think it would be a failure if they don't get fucking top 2. That's all I'm saying. But that's it for the video, and holy shit, I've been talking for half an hour, my god. So yeah, a bit of a longer video today, but you know, I wanted to get everything out as soon as possible. Again, these are only my predictions, don't take them too seriously. If I think I've put your team too low, please don't be too disheartened by that. Feel free to leave your predictions down below in the comments below. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all next time.